You're listening to a Weeby Geeks Network podcast.
The Dining at Disney podcast. The Dining at Disney podcast. Your ultimate source about the wonderful world of dining at the Disneyland and Walt Disney World resorts.
If you are what you eat, then I only want to eat the good stuff.
Kristen Hoetzel Go and Jay Brattain are your guides on this culinary adventure.
We'll prepare and serve with flair a culinary cabaret.
Join them as they discuss the latest food news, expert tips, recommendations, and trip planning advice related to Disney food and dining. From quick service to fine dining, you will discover all the best restaurants and food as they hungrily explore the Disney parks.
It brings folks together from all walks of life.
The Dining at Disney podcast. And now, your host, Kristen Hoetzel Go and Jay Brattain.
It is the Dining at Disney podcast, your ultimate source about the wonderful world of dining at Disneyland and Walt Disney World. I'm Kristen. With me is Jay. How have you been doing, Jay?
I'm doing great, thanks.
If you had a busy time, stuff coming out over for the 60th anniversary.
Oh yeah, the news keeps flowing out of Disneyland. It's amazing. They're kind of trickling out the information, little bits and pieces here and there, and just kind of making you really want to attend, the celebration. And I'm not going to be there on when they actually open it, May 22nd. And I definitely won't be there on the actual birthday, July 17th. But I'll hit the parks definitely multiple times during the coming up months here.
I could not imagine how crazy the parks are going to be either of those days.
Yeah.
I would think it's going to hit capacity early in the day.
I'm sure. Yeah, it's going to be redlining the whole way through, but it's all right. The thing about living fairly local is that if we go to the parks and we don't get to go on any rides, my wife and I, then I'm okay with that. I'm actually perfectly content, just people watching, and as long as I can get my food in, it's all good. So
I'm in the same boat, and I'm not local though, but yeah, our most recent trip, because I was there to check out the Flower and Garden Festival, went on very few rides, probably not even 10 in an entire week. So, yeah, a little crazy, but there's so much more to do in the parks than just shows and attractions. So, okay, so let's start off with our appetizer portion. And I know you've got some food news for Disneyland, so you want to go ahead and start off with that?
Absolutely. So apparently they are renaming the Taste Pilots Grill from the Grizzly Peak Airfield area. Well, now it's going to be called Grizzly Peak Airfield. It was called, oh my gosh.
Condor Flats.
I'm sorry? What did you say?
Condor Flat.
Yeah, Condor Flat. Yeah, sorry.
It was called Condor Flat.
I had a little brain fart moment. Anyways, so now it's Grizzly Peak Airfield, and Taste Pilots Grill is being changed over, and it's going to be called Smokejumpers Grill, and that'll be opening actually pretty soon here. Maybe even by the time this podcast gets released, who knows? March 20th is the official date. That it's opening, and that should be fun. The only thing I'm a little disappointed about is the fact that they don't have the ribs. And at Taste Pilots Grill they actually took it off the menu a while back, and I was very disappointed because that was actually my favorite ribs in the park, in the resort, I should say. And I was hoping that with the new iteration of that part of the California Adventure, I figured, hey, they're going to bring back some more rustic dishes and things that are favorites of a grill, and unfortunately they didn't. And but at least they will have a bacon cheddar burger, grilled chicken and jack sandwich, and a chili cheeseburger. So not overly exciting, but hey, it's better than nothing, right? I mean, at least it's not pizza slices and just regular hamburgers. So
that's true. It's a little bit more kicked up, and That's the one nice thing that you guys have out in Disneyland is a much wider variety of food. There's not as many places with chicken tenders, hamburgers, hot dogs, your typical theme park, amusement park food. There's a lot more variety. And that's one thing I love out in Disneyland. And I think it is because it is a locals park versus Disney World, which has people from all over the world. And so you see a little bit more of that.
Yeah, but you do have Epcot, so Epcot is pretty diverse, and that was the one land one park that my wife and I went to that we actually really loved, just because that's our style. We like to try cuisines and just kind of kick back, relax. I mean, we're not too big. We're not big thrill seekers. We're not out to ride the latest coaster, or the latest attraction or whatever. So, anyways, yeah. So you have that, and then you also have the Flower and Garden Festival, and then you also have the Food and Wine Festival, which we don't have out here. So there's trade-offs. So
yeah, true. Well, and I have one little bit of news, and it has to do with the Disney Cruise Line, and Chef Arnaud Lallement, he works for Chef. He's a advising chef over at Remy, which is the adult restaurant. It's, if I remember right, I believe it's $75 per adult to dine there, and it's on both the Fantasy and the Dream, so just the two big Disney cruise ships. And he has created the menu with Victoria and Albert's Chef Scott Hunnell, who right now is up for the James Beard Award. So that's pretty big. So that'll tell you that these chefs know what's going on, and they are a 3-star. He's a 3-star, 3 Michelin-starred chef. Gosh, why was I having a problem saying that? Yes. So Chef Arnaud Lallement is a 3 Michelin-starred chef. So there we go. But yeah, he.
For people who don't know about Michelin ratings, 3 is like the top of the top. I mean, basically, you're like a god among chefs, and so that's quite amazing. Even to get 1 Michelin star is outstanding. 2 is like superb. I mean, you're in the elite, and then 3 is like, okay, that's just you're. I think the last I heard, there's only 71 3-star Michelin rated chefs in the entire world. So that's quite exclusive, quite an exclusive set of people to belong to.
Yeah, I mean these are the rock stars of food, So whoever you think of as being your A-list people for music or TV, movies, that is what these guys are to the culinary world. These are your Johnny Depps, So. But yeah, you can check it out. Just visit Disney Parks blog, and they've got a behind-the-scenes look as he discusses how he comes up with some of his culinary creations on the Disney Cruise Line for Remy. Okay, and now on to the main dish. Jay, you've got some interesting news, and we had mentioned the 60th anniversary, and so I know one of your stories has to do with that.
Yeah, I actually wrote a story on the diningatdisney.com website, so you can check it out. It's about the upcoming release of popcorn buckets and mugs that are going to be released with the anniversary celebration beginning May 22nd. Now, earlier in the year, at the end of January, they had actually announced a specialty bucket that looked like the Mickey ear balloons, and it was, or Mickey head-shaped balloons, or what I shouldn't say Mickey ears because they're the entire head. Anyways, regardless, I mean, when I saw that back in January, I was like, oh, heck yeah, I got to get one of those. My wife, too, and I said, well, which one? I think they had 3 colors, right? And I said, well, which one do you want? And she's like, all of them. I just, one of each, at least. And so that's quite amazing. And then in the end of February, they announced that they were going to have the specialty Cinderella popcorn buckets, which also will be available at Walt Disney World as well, and those are shaped in and they're in the shape of the Cinderella's royal coach, which is really cool. I mean, that really, they're taking these buckets to a different level. And then just recently, actually, just a few days ago, they announced even more popcorn buckets, which was the 60th anniversary merchandise, and that has my assumption is because all they're showing is the artwork, so I'm just thinking it's just going to be a standard bucket, just a cylindrical shaped bucket, and it'll just have the artwork surrounding the outside. But it's really cute. I mean, they have the various artworks. It's interesting that they're not duplicating it. It's like what's on the popcorn buckets isn't going to be on the mugs, and vice versa. And the mugs, the popcorn buckets is the one for Disneyland is with Mickey and Minnie, and they're hanging out at the refreshment corner, and of course you got the Fab Five and Chip and Dale rocking out, and in the far background you have Sleeping Beauty Castle with the fireworks going off and everything. So it's really cute. And then the mug is a little more, I guess, I don't know. It seems like it's more like nocturnal in nature. It's because it looks like it's at nighttime, and the fireworks in this artwork it really pops out, And then there's a darkened sky with Dumbo flying around, which I don't know if that's sort of maybe a hint that Dumbo will be flying through the sky like they've had in the past. That would be kind of cool. And then they've got other various characters which they go into Alice in Wonderland and the other Sleeping Beauty, of course, and they've got then the Fab Five and stuff like that. Even Stitch, which was kind of odd, but yeah, it's all right. And at the DCA, at the California Adventure, their popcorn buckets is the first one is going to be Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and they're in front, predominantly in front of the Carthay Circle restaurant, which is cool because I mean, for any of the people who are Disney historians here, or know anything about the history of Disney, they know that Snow White released at the Carthay Circle Theater in Los Angeles in 1937. So it's very fitting, very appropriate that they're being displayed primarily in front of that location. And then on the mugs, then they've got it's a little more whimsical. It's got the Fab Five. I shouldn't say the Fab Five. It's actually missing Donald Duck. And then but they do have Chip and Dale and Jiminy Cricket and Peter Pan and Wendy as well. So it's cool. I mean, I like them. Am I as motivated as the ones that are specially shaped? Kind of. I mean, I'll probably get it just for nostalgia's sake because it's the 60th anniversary, right? So, yeah. So I'll probably be getting one of each.
That's cool. I like the things that are dated like that are for a specific anniversary. And I remember Disney World used to do a lot of like little things that were targeted that, but were always kind of different. Whereas now, you always have the 2013, the 2014, the 2015, etc. merchandise, and so I'm excited to see what all this stuff looks like when I get to come, in the summer. So it sounds like it.
When it comes to merchandise, I mean, I think, they got. I'm not sure, like, when they started developing, products that were year specific, where they like. I have a banner actually that's from the 30th anniversary. So like 30th anniversary, 35th anniversary, every 5-year anniversary or whatever, I'm willing to get something. But just because something says 2013 on it is like, okay, I don't know. It just doesn't compel me to buy it. I mean, it's interesting, and I guess looking back in later years, perhaps it would be it'd be something special. But I don't know. For me, it's like I don't really feel as compelled for the odd years.
I think that it works. Those products work great for those who visit Disney every few years, or
Right.
it's a once-in-a-lifetime event, and then they can
True.
go, look, and this year I was there, and I've got this, and, 20 years later, they can still drink out of that coffee mug and go, gosh, that was such a great trip, do
That's
you
very
remember
true.
when we did this?
Very true.
That kind of stuff. Well, I guess it's time to talk about the Flower and Garden Festival, which I have a lot to talk about when it comes to that. So let me get some of my information out, because I've got a lot of it. And as many know, it started on March 4th, which was Wednesday, and it now features 12 different booths that are, scattered throughout the world. Showcase. It's nowhere near what you would experience during Food and Wine, but it's bringing a little bit of that to Flower and Garden. But it focuses on, locally sourced, in-season, fresh ingredients. So it makes me think with this, it's more like from farm to table kind of food. And let's see, where should I start? I'm looking at this little map that I picked up while I was there. And I shouldn't have picked up this one because it's not laid out as well. Let's see, Mexico. And I did try something at every single place. Some of them I tried a couple of things, but after a while you get full and you're like, I can only eat. I can't eat anymore.
Well, yeah, I think what is it? It's small bites, right? But when you have small bite, it adds up quick. Yeah, I can fully understand that. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt there. Just
No. Jardín de Fiesta, which is the one that's located in Mexico. So for those who are walking into the World Showcase, if you make a left, it's going to be the first booth that you come to. And I tried their pork tacos. And the meat was really tender, just a little bit of spice, not much. So, it's something that somebody who doesn't like spicy food could totally handle. Let's see, where else did I go from there? Lotus House. Now, I always like the steamed buns. And I know to some people it's a little, they look at it like, I don't know about that. But they have, and it's like a steamed bun sandwich. You had two different ones. One was located, was Japanese style. The Chinese style is over at the Lotus House, and it's like a sandwich. It's kind of a flat bun. And they put, it was Kung Pao chicken, and I'm trying to think what all it had with it. Hoisin sauce was on it. It had some fresh veggies with it as well. And it was just really, really good. Chicken wasn't dry, which, a lot of times with things like this, because they're producing so much of it, chicken can be dry, but it wasn't. It was good. Then we went to Florida Fresh. Now, this one has some of the same items that it's had in the past. They have a watermelon salad, which also has arugula, and what's the other thing that's with it? I should pull up my pictures. Let's see, arugula, balsamic vinegar is on it.
That nice acidity to kind of contrast the sweetness of the watermelon.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, the arugula just kind of adds just that hint of bitterness to it and almost kind of a peppery taste, which is awesome. Yeah,
I like arugula.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, some people, I guess, it depends on your palate. Some people are a little bit put off by it has kind of a sharper taste than standard lettuce, so that's the reason why maybe it's off-putting to some.
I can't find the picture of it. Oh well. Yeah, it does have a strong flavor. When I really got into liking arugula was when I was in Italy and had it there, and you can you often see people drizzle it with just like a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of balsamic vinegar, and eat it that way. And I was like, well, this is kind of nice, you know, something a little bit light. But I had that, as well as they have a shrimp and grits, and it's a goat cheese grits with shrimp, and they were really large shrimp, like a lot bigger than I've seen them have in the past. It was maybe like the 8 to 10 size shrimp.
Wow.
So it's the large ones.
That's almost like a prawn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was like, you know, good size shrimp, and they had, I think there was either 3 or 4 of them. So.
Oh wow.
Definitely worth getting that. I also did their beer flight, and each of those comes with is it 3 ounces, I think, of beer, and they give you 4 different ones. I'm trying to remember which one I like the best. They have one's called Feast of Flowers, and it is definitely a floral beer. Like it's like liquid flower, you know. You can probably the most floral beer I've ever tried. Like they did really well with naming that beer. My favorite was the blonde ale that they had, and that was good. Nice it was hot the day I was there, so it's real good, like beer to drink, nice and easy. Then in Italy they have Primavera Kitchen.
I'm sorry, can we go back a second about the beer?
Yeah.
So now the beer was tasting. You said there was a flight of 4 beers, correct?
Yeah.
And this was at the Mexico booth?
This one is Florida Fresh.
Florida Fresh. Okay. So
Yeah.
now is the beer made like by a local brewery, or is it like produced by, let's say, Anheuser, you know, whatever? I mean, you know, Busch or like who?
Yeah, these are all craft local brewery beers.
Oh, okay.
And I'm trying to locate that picture because I know I took a picture of it, and
like here,
you know,
in California we have you know, well, obviously DCA because Disneyland there's no drinking, but yeah, DCA they have Carl Strauss and Anaheim Brewing Company are the 2 big I guess featured beer companies that are in the park. And so anyway, so that's why I was wondering, you know, like Anaheim Brewing Company is obviously not going to be at Disney World, or at least I wouldn't think they are. But you know, I'm just wondering, you know, that's if it was something that was available nationwide, or just it's specific to that, you know, Orlando area, or specific to Disney World.
Now, I can say that the Feast of Flowers is exclusive to the Flower and Garden Festival.
Oh, okay.
The other 3, I'm almost positive, are Florida local craft beers.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
I know that the only one I'm not sure about was the Channel Marker Red Ale, but I know that the other 3, you know, you can't just get them, you know, anywhere. Okay, so on to Primavera Kitchen. I had the cheese manicotti, which was, I mean, it's manicotti. It's not something I'd be like, oh, you have to have this. Definitely had nice amount of cheese on top, filled with cheese, but it, like I said, it's manicotti. It, you know, there's many other things to try. The beers are always good. They have Moretti, both beers, the regular, and then
The red.
The Rosas.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had both of those available there as well. Let's see, what else? There is, the Smokehouse. And the Smokehouse Barbecue and Brews, it's located in the American Pavilion, which perfectly makes sense for its location. And it is always busy. There's always a line for it. But they had a pulled pork slider. There was a beef brisket, burnt end hash, and that's what I ended up having.
Wow. That sounds amazing.
It was a nice hash, very similar to something that they had for Food and Wine, but for Food and Wine it had bacon, and this one had beef brisket on it, and it was nice and tender and yummy, and you can actually watch them making the meat there because they have the smokers located next to the booth.
Wow.
So you can,
that's amazing.
you can watch the chefs out there making the food sometimes. So
I love me some dinner theater, man. I'm telling you.
One of the big things that they had last year was called Piggylicious Bacon Cupcake.
Oh.
And I know a lot of people were interested in if they were going to bring it back or not, and they did.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's interesting. It reminded me if somebody took cupcake batter, like cake batter, and put it together with cornbread. It has that little bit of like cornbread kind of texture to it.
Right, just slightly gritty.
Yeah, so it's not just like eating a cupcake with some bacon in it. I think it gives a little bit more of, your mind can kind of you can kind of wrap your mind around the fact that this is not just like, oh, I'm eating a cupcake with bacon on it. So
right.
They top it off with pretzels, but I really wish they would take candied bacon and put candied bacon bits on top. So if Disney's listening, they can take that advice for next year.
There you go. So it was Disney chefs then. It wasn't like people like outside the park that actually are displaying like a food thing. This is actually all Disney showcased chefs or cooks.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm to be honest, I'm very unfamiliar with the Flower and Garden Festival. I'm not, I've been to Disney World once in my life, and so, like when you have these festivals and things like that, I don't really kind of look into it so deeply because I'm like, well, I'm not going to go back to Disney World for a while, so like why even kind of read about the information, and plus from what it sounds like it'd be like teasing myself anyways, all that great sounding food. Oh my goodness.
I know, right?
So if I ask questions that are kind of like a noob or whatever, then just bear with me, and and just kind of go along with my ignorance here, and hopefully it'll explain to maybe some of the listeners that are more Disneyland centric as well. So.
Oh yeah, and there's plenty of people who are going to be listening and that are locals to maybe they live in Colorado and they often go to Disneyland rather than Walt Disney World, but they're planning a trip there. It gives them that kind of knowledge. Or the people who visit maybe once every 5 to 10 years who listen to this, and they're going to have questions, and you're going to ask those questions that they're thinking, because like I've said, I've been in 22 years, I've been maybe 45 times. So
there you go.
I mean, it's not as much as a local, but if you're local, you go to the park for a day.
I'll bet you it's a lot more than some of the people who live there locally go as well. So it's all good. So
I did a rough
expert,
estimate.
So.
I've done a rough estimate based on my number of trips and roughly what I would have looking at it going, okay, I remember this trip was 5 days, and well, I know this trip was 10 days, and I kind of added it all up one day, and it's over a year. that I have spent in just Disney World, not including my visits to Disneyland, which are now, I think I've spent 30 days at Disneyland now.
Okay.
So
there you go. So tack on an extra month.
So now I just sound like a crazy person. What else did I have? Oh, they do a brewer sample there as well. And theirs is a very interesting setup. They have a Floridian Hefeweizen, and that one I really liked. It was really light, easy to drink beer. The Category 3 IPA is a very hoppy IPA. I don't know about you, but I'm not a big IPA fan. I find it to just be, it's just too bitter for me.
Yeah, it
drink them.
Yeah, it depends on the variety. I don't know if you have Stone Brewery out there or Stone Beer, but they're known for their IPAs, and like their standard Stone Pale Ale and the Stone IPA, they're pretty good, but Stone IPA is about the highest I can tolerate. And then they have their double IPA. They have something called Ruination, and then they start getting like super extreme, and it just like basically sucks all the taste out of your mouth. It's that bitter. Oh.
Those IPAs always make me think of. Have you seen the Beer Logic thing where it says beer is made with hops? Hops is a plant, therefore beer is a salad.
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay, so it makes me think that way.
Okay.
Like really hoppy beers make me think of that little meme that I've seen.
Okay.
The most interesting of the ones that they had was a, let's see, what's the exact name of it? Because I want to make sure I get it right. It is a maple bacon stout.
Woo! That sounds good.
Oh, it is amazing. It wasn't a heavy stout. It wasn't like Guinness, that kind of heavy texture to it.
Right.
Had more of like a lager style texture. With, you could taste the maple, but you didn't really taste the bacon. It gave it a smoky flavor instead. So it was kind of like a smoky sweet beer, but not too sweet.
Interesting.
I liked it so much I went back and actually got a glass of it.
Serving, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Which isn't very big. Their servings are, like a small cup. I
like an 8-ounce cup, something like that.
I think it's maybe 6.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, last year for Food and Wine, they decreased all the sizes of everything. And I have, I think I still have them. I think I kept them. I brought home to compare them from year to year and measure out the amount of liquid and also comparing it to cost. Like, are you paying more per ounce than you were previously?
Right.
Which it ended up being roughly the same amount. But I think it's to keep people who are doing drinking around the world from being completely trashed halfway through the park.
Right. Now they can get 2/3 of the way through the park and be trashed. So.
Right, exactly. But I really enjoy the smokehouse. They have good.
Well, I saw the pictures
barbecue
that you posted on Instagram, and I was the other things look great as well, but when it comes to barbecue, it's like that gets my mouth salivating. I love me some barbecue for sure, and when you showed those pictures, I was like, oh man, that is just amazing, and I just yeah. And that beer sounds really awesome too, and I'm hopefully they'll maybe have something special out here, something similar at DCA, I don't know, we'll see, but yeah, it sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that beer and see if it's sold anywhere other than maybe in Florida.
Yeah, maybe I have to send you some money, get me a 6-pack to ship out to California, right?
Require a lot of bubble wrapping, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. There was also Hanami, and that is the one that's over in the Japan Pavilion.
Okay.
They had Frushi, which I think it's so cute and it's perfect for kids because it looks just like sushi, but it's made of fruit. So
Interesting.
I've had it in the past, and I'm like, it's okay. It's cute for kids, but I like to try something a little bit more unique than that. So I went with the teriyaki curry bun, and it was one of the steamed buns that's like stuffed with like chicken and had the teriyaki sauce and everything in it, and it was good. It was kind of like trying to think of how I explained it to Aljon. I think it was like if you put like Indian curry and then soy sauce together, that was kind of the flavor. So it was different and interesting. I wouldn't say it was my favorite, but I wouldn't say I didn't like it either.
Okay.
It was just, those aren't two flavors you normally think of together. So, but it was, like I said, it was interesting. Taste of Marrakesh is located over by the Morocco Pavilion. And they had the harissa chicken kebabs. They brought that back from previous years and then added a falafel pocket with cucumber, tomato, salad, and tahini sauce. And I don't know about you, but I'm not a big falafel person. It's just so dry to me. That
I like it. I mean, it sounds interesting. It almost sounds like a Euro sandwich, but they just kind of substituted. Well, not really, I guess. I'm just trying to picture the flavor, like the components and stuff like that. And I mean, falafel, yes, it is. Definitely. If they don't prepare it right, it does. Become very dry. I like it. The flavor's good. Would I get it every day? No, but once every few months or 6 months or so, it's okay. So, but I guess theirs was a bit dry, huh?
I wasn't crazy about it. Again, like every time I've had falafel, it seems dry to me. But I also like lots of sauces too. So.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well,
the sauce that's on it, I liked.
The tahini, and what else was the other sauce?
That was the sauce that was on it, but it also had cucumbers and tomatoes and lettuce.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if they had like
Aljon liked it.
tabbouleh sauce, or what do they call tabbouleh or something like that? Something, it's some other type of thing that has the components of that. But anyways, yeah, okay. So yeah, so Aljon liked it, so that's good. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, he liked it, but like I said, he likes falafel, so
okay.
It's one of those kind of. So I let him finish it. I was like, okay, you can have it. I had a bite. I know what it tastes like. I can talk about it.
There you go.
New this year was Bontana's Botanico, and it took up. It takes up a nice little section. They've got a couple of areas in the World Showcase that, there's a good bit of greenery, and it was in one of those spots. So you had plenty of seating located next to it. And we tried the seafood ceviche as well as what else did we get? The white corn arepa. So we tried both those. And the polar beer, which I've had polar beer before. My dad used to travel to South America quite a bit, and he would bring me back beers.
Oh, well, that's nice.
So he used to, I have a whole collection of empty beer cans, so I collect them. I get my sister, when we travel overseas, I always tell her, I will put your stuff in my luggage, in my carry-on if you will put the empty cans in your bag so they don't get crushed. So
That's good.
I have a collection of beer cans. So I've had Polar before. It's a light beer. As far as the ceviche, I thought it was good, but it needed like just a little bit of salt to kind of bring the flavors together. It just had a little bit, was just lacking something, and I think it was salt that it was lacking.
Do they have like hot sauces there?
No.
That's the thing. Ceviche to me, or at least the ceviche I've had, it's so like I guess the lime, it just kind of is pretty powerful in the flavor profile, and so I love tapatio sauce, and tapatio with ceviche is just like money, and like if anything, if I was to go there and they had that ceviche, I'd be like, okay, I gotta bust out the tapatio bottle, so. That's too bad. Yeah. Well, I guess maybe next time then just add a little salt or something, see if that kind of changes the flavor dynamics a bit and maybe improves it.
Yeah. Sometimes I find that you don't need to be able to taste the salt, but it needs the salt to get those flavors to blend together.
Right.
And I think that's what it was missing. The white corn arepa was really good. It wasn't dry. It was filled with some beef. It was tasty. I liked it. And Fleur de Lis, which is located in France.
Mm-hmm.
We tried. Let's see, what did we try there? They have what they were calling gnocchi, but it was like a Parisian dumpling and had vegetables and mushrooms with it. So we had that, which I believe they had that last year too. And it was pretty good. I mean, a little bit of cheese on there, so that was nice. And we did the ice pop, which had peach and raspberry, Grand Marnier, and it was like a frozen cocktail. So.
But was it frozen solid or like kind of like a margarita or whatever, like a crushed up margarita?
No, it's frozen like an ice pop.
Oh wow, okay, wow, interesting. I just because usually alcohol is so hard to freeze, and with Grand Marnier in there, I just well they do it in Vegas though, so I guess if it's possible there, it's possible anywhere.
I kind of thought the same thing of you can stick vodka in your freezer and it's nice and cold but doesn't freeze over, so
right.
It must be just enough of the tea in it to not be overly watery or anything. The only thing with this is if it's a really hot day, you better eat that quick, otherwise you're going to be wearing that ice pop.
True, and then also there's other methods of freezing. I mean, that you can use what's that stuff? Liquid nitrogen. What I mean, and therefore, liquid nitrogen has a lower freezing point, and maybe that's how they sort of develop it, and then they just have to serve it, within a certain time period in order for it not to melt. So, anyways, that's cool. That's awesome.
And started melting while I was holding it in. It's one of those things that I don't know about you, but I'm a person who gets brain freeze easily. So to me, it was hard to, I told Alton, I was like, my head is starting to hurt. You need to finish. I can't do this. I was like, otherwise it's going to all be melted.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was tasty. I would definitely have one again. I know what I forgot to mention. When I was at Hanami, we also had a strawberry sake cocktail there, and it was kind of made you think of like a smoothie, strawberry smoothie, but with a lot of sake in it. Like you could really taste the sake. So I was happy about that because I hate it when I get a cocktail and you're like, is there even any alcohol in it? It's just,
right.
So,
I'm with you on that.
But that was good. I liked it better than he liked it. he thought the sake was too strong. But again, personal preference.
There you go.
I know I'm missing one place. What was the other one? Urban Eats. That was the other place that we ate at. And I'm not even seeing it on here. Urban Eats and Pineapple Promenade. Pineapple Promenade had soft serve. It's pretty much Dole Whips. But you can get 2 of them with alcohol. The options were, I think it was Sammy's something. What is it? Let's see. Sammy's Beach Bar Redhead Macadamia Nut Flavored Rum, or you could get Parrot Bay Coconut Rum. We did the spicy hot dog with pineapple chutney, and we had friends who were like, "You can't put pineapple on a hot dog. That's not okay." But the hot dog was spicy, and the pineapple went with it perfectly. So
yeah, you have to open your mind.
It was good. It was good. I'm sure it sounds a little strange because when you think of hot dogs, you think more of like, sausage and Germans and Poles and that kind of stuff. So, but it was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I don't, But then again, I mean, I'm more the adventurous eater, obviously. That's why we're doing the show, right?
Exactly. And Urban Eats was the last place. Urban Farm Eats, and we had the kale salad and the quinoa vegetable non-wich. They also had the ghost pepper dusted tilapia, which is returning from last year. The cool thing about Urban Farm Eats is they have a display set up with the little tilapia fish in there and showing how they can use the water from the tilapia to also water and fertilize the plants.
Interesting.
It's interesting, but it's also funny when kids realize what that is and the comments that children make. He's doing a little kid. It's like, Mommy, they're using poop water. Oh my gosh, children.
Yeah.
But both the kale salad and the quinoa non-wich are vegetarian friendly, and I liked both of them. The kale salad had some slivered almonds on it. There was, I need to pull up the picture so I can make sure I've got all of it right. Where is it? Oh, yeah.
But there's not a way we could show the pictures, when we're talking about it, because that'd be kind of cool for the people who are actually watching the
I
live
know.
stream.
The only way we can do it is like holding up my phone, which doesn't really give the best image.
Oh, that's actually pretty decent. Do you have an iPad? Maybe do an iPad. That's actually a great idea for future shows. I'm gonna make sure to put my photos on my iPad, and then I'll just be like, here you go. Yeah.
But it has dried cherries and goat cheese, and that's good. It's very similar to the salad that they serve in Sunshine Seasons, which is up in Future World in Living with the Land Pavilion. They have a salad very similar. The quinoa had cheese. There's like a roasted tomato on it, and what appeared to be like a pesto on top of the naan, on top of the quinoa, which was on top of the naan. So that's that one, if you can see it.
Yes.
So, but yeah, everything was yummy. Oh, when we got the pineapple, we also tried the Twinings iced tea cocktail, and that was really good. It was like peachy and raspberry with a sugarcane vodka. So
it sounds like you had sort of a mix of wine, beer, and hard alcohol there during the day. How'd you feel? I bet you felt pretty good, right?
Do you know what? Aljon and I shared everything, because that way you can experience more. If it was just me, I'd be in so much trouble. I would have to weigh. I would weigh a lot more than I do if I ate that way. I don't have the room in my stomach for that much food. Even though for my size, I do eat an awful lot of food, but it would be too much to do all of that in a day.
Yeah.
And that's.
Well, I was just talking about the alcohol part of it, but you pointed out already that the serving sizes were relatively small, and I'm sure that the Grand Marnier popsicle or whatever, I'm sure it's got a pretty low alcohol content, and the same with the sake. I mean, sake in itself is not very high. It's 12%. And so, I mean, if you cut it down with, like the smoothie stuff, then, you're looking at, maybe 2-3%, something like that. So, anyways, so that's what I was just like kind of commenting about or whatever to see how you felt after all that alcohol. But you're walking around, so you're burning off a lot of calories, and when especially if it was a hot day or whatever, it just kind of doesn't really hit you as much as it normally would, I think. But
I couldn't really tell I had been drinking much because, like I said, I was sharing all of it with Al John. If I had been drinking all of it myself, we didn't. When you look at it, it sounds like a lot, but over a whole day, considering people go to sporting events and they'll have 3 of those big beers, and I also do well with alcohol. I can drink a full liter of beer and still be able to walk a straight line. Which I don't know what that says.
Anyhow, so on this flower and garden thing here, so they have a booth set up, but it's not necessarily specific to each pavilion. It's like just basically random booths. It just happens to be like there's one in the Japan pavilion, and then there's one in Mexico, and then there's one in France. But I'm just I was just wondering about like Canada and the UK, right? I mean, I'm just were there specialty booths there, or like what you mentioned the last one with the fish poop place. I mean, did they have was that representative of Canada or something, or just kind of was just a random showcase?
That one was, I guess you would put it as like a random showcase. It's actually not located. It's located before you get in to actually one of the countries. It's right before Canada, and it's in a big greenery area that you could take. There's like a little path that goes from the World Showcase over to the Journey into Imagination and Living with the Land, and that little area, and that's where that walkway goes. It normally has a whole bunch of beautiful roses, but across from that there's like the green open area, and that's where they put it.
I see. Cool.
So,
sounds like a great time.
A lot of these, are placed with the country that it kind of represents. But as you also said, there's some that don't really fit anywhere, and so they're just kind of, randomly placed.
And how long does this? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
There's a nice something.
Oh, there's like a nice open area where during Food and Wine they always have like the German food, and it's between the China pavilion and the Germany pavilion, and like that's where they set up Florida Fresh and plenty of seating, picnic tables and things like that. So it's I like it when they have those displays because there's a lot of seating right there. You're not like wandering around going, do I have to eat over a trash can?
Right. That's good. Yeah, that's important. For sure. So how long does this Flower and Garden Festival deal go on? I mean, what's like, is it a 1 week thing or 2 weeks or a month or?
It will go until March 17th.
Okay, and when did it start?
March 4th. May 17th. Sorry, March 4th. May 17th.
Oh, so wow, so
if
like
people are
2.5
going,
months.
yeah, I think 75 days.
Wow, wow.
And this overlaps, the last weekend of this overlaps with the start of Star Wars weekends. So people could actually go and do 2 special events over one weekend.
There you go.
Which I think is kind of cool that they do that.
Yeah.
Oh, another new thing that they added this year was on the weekend, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, at 3 o'clock at the port of entry, which is right as people walk into World Showcase, they're doing culinary demonstrations there as well. And those are free. They're just, yeah. They used to do those during Food and Wine that were out along the World Showcase.
Mm-hmm.
But they stopped doing those a few years ago, and then the ones that they hold in the festival center they charge for. But I think that's cool. On the weekends, they also have bands. So last weekend we saw Gin Blossoms. So that was cool. They kicked off the first one.
Awesome. Sounds like
they
a
played
great time.
their hit, so that was cool. Yeah, I'm glad they changed it.
Now, is it like, does this run like morning till night, or like is it just like lunch and dinner, or like what are the hours that they have these food booths open?
They open at 11 when the World Showcase does, and they go till park closing.
Oh, okay.
So normally it's going to be, like 11 to 9 normally.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. That's awesome. Well, it sounds like you had a good time, so you're going back next week, right?
I wish.
All right.
We got to add easier to accomplish in a day. And try anything for a festival where I'm like, okay, who can join me at the park? Who wants to join us? So that way, the more people you have, the more stuff you can taste.
There you go. Exactly.
And get pictures of. So.
Absolutely. All right.
Well, I think that's pretty much everything I've got when it comes to the outdoor kitchens at the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival.
Cool. That sounds good. That was quite a meal there. So
yes.
We'll go
now
on. You ready for a little dessert?
Yes, I'm ready for dessert. How about you?
Absolutely.
And so I think our discussion is going to be a reservation dining tip. So I'll let you cover your Disneyland dining tip.
Sure. Well, everybody knows you can make reservations at Disneyland. I mean, that's a given. However, in last year, they actually brought their reservation system up to par with the modern age, and you can do dining reservations online, which is great. And I've booked dining reservations through the Disneyland website, and it's all well and good. But my tip is, besides going online, you can still call the number, which is a 714-781-DINE, D-I-N-E. I don't know what the numbers are on the phone. I have it on speed dial, so whatever. Anyways, but I know it's 714-781-DINE. The difference is, okay, so let's say you're allergic to a certain food or whatever. They have actually options that you can input online, or let's say you have somebody who's in a wheelchair and can't really traverse a certain area or whatever. Then they'll make accommodations for that, which you can do either way, online or by phone. However, the difference with calling on the phone is you can actually tell the cast member who answers the line about a special occasion. So let's say you're going for somebody's birthday, right? And it's just like, okay, you want to kind of, the person doesn't want to be like all, oh, well, I don't want to make a big deal about it or whatever. And so you can tell them that. It's like, okay, just we're celebrating my friend's birthday, but, they don't like a big, noisy thing or whatever. So they'll go, make sure it's low-key and everything. I mean, yes, you can do it at the restaurant itself, but at the same time, you don't have to worry about, like, pulling your waiter aside and whispering in his ear or her ear and just saying, hey, it's my friend's birthday, or or we're celebrating an anniversary or what have you. You can actually just tell the cast member on the phone, hey, this is what's going on, and can you make sure to let the restaurant know. So it really, I think, is an advantage over the online reservation system at this point. Who knows? I mean, when they sort of evolve the online reservation system, you can input special requests in terms of you're celebrating something, or you have a certain situation or whatever that you want them to be aware of. So that's my tip.
And I'm going to talk about making reservations over at Walt Disney World. And there, of course, they work a little bit differently than at Disneyland, and they have what they call.
Sorry, 60 days in advance for Disneyland, because that's important, because over there at Disney World, you guys get a whole 6 months, man, which is kind of cool.
I know.
Yeah, I didn't want to kind of cut you off there, but I just want to make sure it was important that make sure you book 60 days in advance, and if your plans change or whatever, then you can always have time to make adjustments accordingly. But yeah, at Disney World, it's you definitely got to be on that 180-day mark. But anyways, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. Because that's important. At Disney World, they're called advanced dining reservations. Often people refer to them as ADRs. So if you hear ADRs, that's what people are talking about. It is highly recommended. It can be very difficult and at times impossible to get into some of the restaurants at certain times of the year. Guests can start making them up to 180 days prior to arrival. For guests who are staying at a Walt Disney World resort, you can book them for that day plus 9. So you've got the first 10 days of your stay you can book, which is very important for restaurants like Be Our Guest, Le Cellier, Cinderella's Royal Table. Those go quickly, and especially right now, Be Our Guest. I mean, that place is such the place to be. It is so hot and so hard to get that as soon as you know you're going, if it's past 180 days, you need to start getting online and check in probably every day to see if it's available. And reservations can be made 2 different ways ahead of time, and that's you can make them online. And Disney did roll out their online system for Disney World a few years prior to doing it for Disneyland. So I think it was, if we can make it work here with all of the issues we could have, then it's going to work over in Disneyland. You can also do it by calling 407 WDW Dine. So yeah, Disney likes the word dine for its phone number. Guests who are already on property can either visit the concierge desk at their resort. You can go to guest relations in the park or in downtown Disney, as well as visit the podium at the restaurant and see if they have any availability. If you have something in mind, like, oh, it's Sunday now, and on Thursday we want to go eat it at, La Hacienda, and, you can check and they can try and book that for you if you don't feel like calling or going online. There's also the My Disney Experience app, and you can book things that way as well and cancel out your dining reservations. That is a very, very handy tool for people who have smartphones, which is most people, but not everybody. Like, my dad hasn't moved into this century yet. He still doesn't have a cell phone. So, so for him, that option is not a viable one. But, yeah, the app is really nice. It will ask you for select, like the dinner shows, it's going to ask you to prepay for those. If you're using the dining plan, you can still apply that to those. It will also ask you for a credit card for all reservations. Disney World was having a big problem at one point with people doing multiple bookings. So somebody would book, say, Le Cellier, because they could get it for 7 o'clock and then at 8 o'clock they would have booked another restaurant. But they would have taken up multiple reservations, and they were having issues with no-shows. And I went to Le Cellier once, and it was half empty because people had overbooked, hoping that, well, if I want it this night, I have it. And
Right.
it was screwing other people out of being able to get those reservations that they really wanted and truly enjoying the dining that is offered. And they implemented the no-show policy that you put a credit card guarantee down. You had 24 hours prior to cancel it. If you did not cancel in advance or you did not show up, there is a $10 per person fee,
Right.
which I like. I think that's a good idea, and it's cut down on that to where when you go, the restaurants do have people in them. You're not experiencing that situation, which has made it to where it's easier to get into Le Cellier or Cinderella's than it used to be.
Yeah, they have the same policy here at Disneyland as well, so that's actually an important point that, if you are making plans, and just make sure that you know well in advance that your plans are going to change, because, $10 is $10, I mean, that could be, a corn dog and soda, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So, anyways, but, yeah, that's important. So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off again. I just wanted to
Oh,
kind of
no.
point that out, so.
But yeah, just like you had mentioned, the ability to note on their special dining information, whether it's you need wheelchair accessibility, or you are diabetic, you have a gluten intolerance, all of those can be noted online or on the app as well to make your dining a little bit easier, as well as we're celebrating our anniversary, or we are, it's a birthday celebration, and they do a really good job of, acknowledging those things. And Disney doesn't go over the top. It's not like going to O'Charlie's or, one of those other places where everybody comes out and they all sing to you, and,
Happy birthday to you. Hey, happy birthday to you. Hey, happy birthday to... No, just kidding. Yeah, that's a... That happened to us on
They don't do those
it's-
embarrassing things.
It happened to me on the cruise ship, right? And it was for the anniversary. I think it was like happy anniversary to you. I'm like, for real? You guys are actually doing this here? I mean, this is not Chili's, you know what I'm saying? It's like, this is supposed to be fine dining on the cruise ship, I don't know, it kind of ruined the experience for me. Anyways, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either, and Disney does a good thing of not doing that stuff. So
Yeah, not going over the top like that. Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, that's all I could think of when it comes to making reservations. I think we both covered everything about Disneyland and Walt Disney World.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you have to mention?
No, I think we're good to go.
Okay, so make sure, Jay, where can they check you out?
Well, they can check me out at Magical Food Tour on Twitter. They can also go magicalfoodtour.com. Any of the Pinterest, Instagram, the et cetera, Facebook. It's all Magical Food Tour. So just you can check it out there.
As for myself, you can find me at Dining at Disney. It's also Dining at Disney on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook. On YouTube, it is The Dining at Disney, and of course, you can watch our video version of this podcast for those who want to visually see it and take a look at some of those, a couple of those images I showed. Other than that, make sure you look for Dining at Disney on iTunes, and you can download it there. Our show's free, of course, so learn all your Disney stuff. So until next time. Oh, phone number. I forgot we have a phone number.
Yay!
You can call us, guys, with questions. You can make comments, share your dining stories with us. We are always excited to hear from people. So our phone number is going to be 614-992-0000. DADP, which is 3237. So, yeah, and we'll have that in the show notes of where you can get in touch with us. And so, okay. Well, until next time, I'm Kristen, and with me is Jay, and bon appetit.